everyone have a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
Any revisions, any comments? Yes, Patty?
I had one. Dan's name was still spelled incorrectly.
Oh,
It doesn't
no.
matter, but it was the D-A-N part. It was R-I-O-R-D-A-N, not D-O-N. But anyway,
R-I-O-R.
R-D-A-N.
Let's see if we can get it
Sorry,
right
Heather.
this time. Okay. Anything else?
Yes, just a request.
Yes.
Circulate a copy of the letter that you issued on behalf of the request from the gentleman that represented the house on Walden Street. I'd
Yes,
just like to get an idea of the sorts of things that we send out. It would be great if you could circulate that to the committee.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will send it out after the meeting.
Great, thank you.
I didn't want to send it out when I was doing it because I didn't want it to look like I was asking for approval, because then, you know, we'd need to have a roll call vote and we couldn't go there. So I
Absolutely.
just sent it out. But I will send out a copy.
Great, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. Rod, you're first for approving the minutes.
I approve.
Patty,
I approve.
Carol,
I approve.
Michael,
Aye.
Terry.
Approve.
Okay, minutes are approved. Moving right along. Okay, liaison reports. Margaret, Minuteman Senior Services.
You sent out a nice report.
You're muted, Margaret.
We can't hear you, Margaret.
Sorry about that. I sent out the service report for Concord, and other than that, there wasn't that much going on last week. I think the big news, we actually heard from Ginger that the budget was approved, and despite we're expecting a lot of cuts, but services.
You don't mean you heard from me, right?
I thought you sent out an email. That was not you? Okay.
About
The budget?
the Minuteman budget?
No, the town budget.
Oh, okay.
So just in general, that the budget had been approved. But the Minuteman budget, despite expecting not dramatically cut. Actually, I have some detail on, it's not really. Anyway, doesn't matter. And then our service report, which comes out every year, talks about how many residents received services from Minuteman, and they are duplicated numbers. So, you know, there are people who may have gotten, you know, they might have gotten protective services and Meals on Wheels, or Meals on Wheels and senior dining. So it's not unduplicated, but it gives you a good idea of how many seniors in Concord do get services from Minuteman.
So in the letter that they send with the statistical report, it does quote that same total number. And it specifically says that many residents were helped, and that's a duplicated number. So I guess just as a request in the future, if they could have that reflect the unduplicated number of exactly how many residents are being helped, because it's a little misleading there.
Yeah, I know. We say that to them every year, and it's Yeah, the notes say, it's unduplicated within each program, but they're duplicated across programs. So yeah, I bring it up every year. I think they just find it more helpful to do it that way, I guess.
Well, it
Margaret?
makes it look better, like they're serving more people than they are.
Right.
Well,
Margaret,
I guess if you total the numbers in the actual programs, that would tell you.
Margaret, I did that, and those numbers in the individual programs add up to 848. So that's that would be the maximum number of residents if everyone just used one of the services, right?
Right. That's right. Yeah. Okay. So that's where the 848 is. So yeah. So that's yeah.
But-
Like I said, we bring this up every year, and it is what it is. So
Margaret,
but
do you have a sense from the association what the universe is? You know, in terms of, do they have a sense? Are they providing service to? Is 848? Well, take any one of those individual services. Does that represent they're reaching 50% of the people that they think need a service, or is this, or do they not make that kind of assessment? I mean, maybe this is great. Maybe this is 100% of the people that need those services, you know, for the year. That would be terrific. But they have a sense of that?
yeah, we do have numbers on that. Maybe not hard numbers, but in general, we find that a lot more people would qualify for services, and for one reason or another, either they don't know about Minuteman, or they don't want to, you know, give out their financial information that they would have to give, or they don't know how to access the services. So in general, we know that there are a lot more people who would qualify.
Okay, thank you.
So a lot of the work that that we try, you know, the Minuteman tries to do is just get the word out that more people are eligible for some of these services than they think they are. There's an impression that you have to be really poor to qualify and that for all these services, and that's not true. A lot of them are free.
Well, the Shine services don't require anything other than you take a lot of medications and you need to know some information about what the insurance is best for you. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Information and referral is free to everyone. Protective services, obviously, options counseling. Some have really high budget. Well, Ombudsman is free. The money management service is a really high eligibility threshold. So, so it's really just in-home care that has income and asset limits, and some are the same as Medicaid, but some are much higher. But there's like right now, there's for almost all of 2020, there's with COVID, there's been a real problem with caregivers. You know, they're either not, people don't want to have caregivers come into their house. Caregivers don't want to go into people's houses, or they have children that they have to stay at home and homeschool. So, so that's, you know, that's a problem too. There are people who qualify who might not be able to get all the services that they would qualify for. So, but that's it.
All right. Okay, thank you, Margaret. Concord Housing Authority, Patty?
Yeah, I'll tell you briefly about what we discussed, and to my way of thinking, once again, it really isn't relevant directly to us, but they talked a lot about replacing Marianne. It's the same thing. Marianne is the director, and she's trying to retire. At any rate, that looks like it's going to happen at some point, and both she and her helper, Laura, are going to retire at the same time or want to leave at the same time. And both positions are different enough that everyone thinks they need to kind of train the next person. So there was discussion about that. There was discussion about someone they found to replace one of the board members who had to leave, has to leave. And that was the main gist of things. So we'll talk about that more, I imagine, the housing committee and so forth, when we talk about all the town departments. But
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Patty. Disability, that is Graciela, and she is not here. Okay. Concord after 60, Terry.
Okay, well, they had their meeting last Sunday, and that's a Sunday earlier than usual because of the holiday season. They didn't want to get too involved with everybody's holiday preparations. It was a smaller meeting in some respects than usual, but they had a good time. There were, as a matter of fact, their website, Concord After 60, has some videos on it that were a part of that event. There were like 10 performances of holiday songs with vocalist and pianist designed for sing-along. And there's also the bell choir, We Three Kings of Orient are in the Ringing the Bells. And that was we're out of the church in West Concord. So really kind of cute to take a look at it. So anybody who's interested in checking in on that, just Google Concord After 60, and you go to the event calendar and December, and there you are. So anyway, I do recommend that for people to just check in and see what's going on. So their next program is going to be on the usual third Sunday, which will be January the 17th, 2 to 4 p.m. And this one's going to feature the expertise of Jane Gordon, who is the person, I guess she's been a long time historian in the town of Concord and worked for the Concord Museum for many years. And she teaches the program for people who want to be guides in Concord. So she really knows her stuff. And she is going to be talking about history of Concord. So if anybody's interested in the history of Concord, the 17th, that will be the agenda, and I will try to report whatever I can remember from that experience. But it's it looks like it's a thriving group of people.
Good. All right. Thank you. Okay. We had the select board, the chair breakfast yesterday. So some of the town committees are trying to have joint meetings so that they're not functioning as silos. So like the zoning board and the planning committee, the finance committee and the school committee, they're trying to have some meetings together so that they can work cooperatively. And that seems to be helping things. We have reports due for the town annual report. Ginger, do you normally do that?
I usually write that every year.
Okay. All right. I don't think we're doing a picture this year. Right.
Oh, yeah, unless somebody takes a screenshot of this.
Is there any interest in doing that?
Carol Ann, I thought there was a budget for cutouts. I don't understand. I thought you.
What?
You thought you had a budget for cutouts. That's a.
I was.
No budget for cutouts. Okay. There is a meeting coming up on February 27th. It's the town meeting preview meeting for warrants, in case anyone's interested. Town hall is being renovated. They hope to be finished by April 15th, at least for occupancy of the employees, but not necessarily the public. see. The Agricultural Committee is planning a spring outreach event. It probably won't take place until April or May, so it can be outside. There's a new committee for the light plant that is addressing policy questions and rate structures. That sounded interesting. I thought we might want to consider that one. Let's see. Oh, the town has a Vitality Economic Committee, and they're trying to look for ways to support local businesses to try to keep businesses open and here. And I think that's about it. Any questions? Margaret, you're
Oh,
muted.
what did you call that? A vitality,
It's Economic Vitality.
economic vitality committee?
Yeah. I think it's a joint effort between the town and private people, maybe business owners.
They mention anything about the survey that was sent out to residents that we were supposed to fill out either online or send in or something?
No, they didn't say anything.
I think the deadline's tomorrow to submit it, so.
Oh, okay.
Did everyone submit their survey?
I did.
Okay, good. All righty. That's it for me. Okay, Andrea's not with us tonight, so no Finance Committee report. Susan, do you have anything you'd like to share from the Select Board?
Yeah, it's not specifically from the select board, but I did listen in last week. The library committee had an update on the project, and they did mention, I know this was an issue that's been talked about amongst several committees, is the handicap parking. And they are going to put 2 handicap spaces next to the new addition, so off the street, which was a concern for people because on Main Street, when you get out of the car, your driver's door is right on Main Street, and it can be difficult. So that was an issue they talked about a lot. And they also started a sustainability committee. But I just wanted to tag on to Patty's report. Charles, I just lost his name, is going to be replacing the person on the Housing Authority, Charles Phillips.
Phillips.
Has a long history in affordable housing projects and committees in Concord. So he'll be appointed on Monday at our meeting. We'll have a joint meeting with the Concord Housing Authority to accomplish that.
Who is he replacing?
Todd Benjamin.
Todd Benjamin, right.
Yeah,
Who is the assistant person or?
he was one of the board members.
Oh, all right. So he's
Right.
just a new board member. I probably didn't need to put that in the minutes, but what the heck?
And that's it.
Okay, all right, thank you. Ginger?
Okay. All right. Just a few announcements that you might find interesting. So just to let you know that we were still able to do a fall cleanup despite COVID. We did that with the students from the High School Honor Society and the seniors who received that service were immensely grateful. You know, it's this like leaf raking and twig picking up, et cetera, to get people's yards ready for winter. So we were able to do that. We also were still able to do the buckets of sand that most of you know that's a project the COA does in partnership with someone in town. And we partnered with First Parish. And that happened over the last 2 weekends. We did 30 buckets of sand. And just as a side note, our source of empty 5-gallon pails is going away, I think, this next year. So if any of you have reason to use a 5-gallon pail of something in your house and can wash it out and save it to donate to us, that's what we need to do to fill those with sand and deliver them to seniors who need that.
Can
So,
we recycle the pails that you deliver one winter to the
yeah,
next?
we did ask for that in the newsletter, that if people still had their pail, to please bring it back. And we got like, I don't know, 3 or 4 back out of the 30 that we gave out. So yes, we'll try that, but we're never going to get back as many as we give. So.
Okay.
Let's see here. We're going to actually do a joint project with Fowler Library. They're actually going to provide a paper curling craft kit. They're going to do the work of putting that together and make the purchase, but it's going to be a COA sponsored drive-through event. And so we're happy to be partnering with them.
What is paper curling?
I should have brought in a sample or something, but it basically is they're going to use the sample she sent is like pages from old books that they're getting rid of. And you fold it in such a way as you might take folded pages from a cover of a book and you put it together and it's shaped like a flower, but it's really pages of a book.
Oh, okay.
It's like paper folding, paper curling.
I got you. Okay.
Yep.
A
So
little different than origami, but paper. works.
yeah, paper folding in a different
Yeah.
version, but
Yeah.
so that's going to be happening in the future. A lot of you know that we run a gift shop at Harvey Wheeler, which has been closed for 10 months. So we are going to take a stab at having some online items for sale. We've basically getting a website up and going where people can look at items, but it will be a pickup only. We're not going to be shipping all over the world. It will be, we're not going to take credit cards. It's going to be, gee, I'd like to have that vase for $5 and call up the COA and arrange to come on a Tuesday or a Thursday to, hand us your $5 and we'll hand you the vase. So this will help to start bringing back in a little bit of revenue. Plus the volunteers who run the gift shop have been, quite keen to do something to help us. We're spending gift shop money left and right with all of these giveaways that we have had going that have been immensely popular. And it's certainly something we want to continue. Thankfully, they had a very healthy balance, and I haven't run them out of money yet, but they'd like to, get some more revenue coming in. And so we did allow one volunteer to come in at a time, masked up, to go into their little storeroom to choose the items that would be for sale. And they loved coming in, and we hadn't seen them in months, of course. So that will be coming. We actually hope that is going to be live in another week or so. So get your pennies ready to make those gift shop purchases. And then the only other thing I was just going to mention is that District Attorney Marion Ryan held a Zoom meeting for COA directors where she discussed, sadly, the increased and varied scams that have come up since COVID started that are often targeting seniors. And, it's more of an awareness for us that we in turn pass on to our staff and that we in turn pass on to seniors that we interact with to be extra vigilant, extra careful. It's always sad to hear the different ways in which people have been taken advantage of, but we were very grateful for her doing that, for us. And she may do most of us have had her come speak. She's spoken at Harvey Wheeler 2 or 3 times since I've been there. I think they're going to try to put together a Zoom where multiple COAs can have their seniors participate at the same time, and she would have a much larger audience to share this information with. So that's in the works. And that's all I have, unless anyone has any questions.
The article you're going to be putting into the next bulletin about tax preparation, you said you had people already calling in.
Yes, we do. We have, and they're quite concerned. Not not just because they've always had it done at the COA, but for some people, they're worried about the cost of going to
It
a
is.
private CPA or to H&R Block or some
Right.
other commercial enterprise.
There
Okay, this
is,
came up at the breakfast yesterday. And they were, Linda Escobedo was very concerned that this was not going to be offered this year. Like so what were the issues that prevent you from providing it? Is that the exchange of documents and the computers?
yes, we can't accept drop off of documents. We use, and you, yeah, if that happens, then the drop off has to be with people who have Chromebooks. Many of us don't have Chromebooks at home, so we use the one that we had at the COA. But if we can't have in-person meetings, it's a little difficult. I know professionals can accept drop off documents, but I don't think AARP or IRS is going to okay that for us. The one thing I will say is there is a one-page document, Federal Form 4868 and Massachusetts Form 4868. It just allows you to put your name, your address, your social security number, and what you think you owe the federal and state government, and you can apply for an extension. If this vaccine is going to work and if we're ever going to get back together again, if they can apply for an extension, then we can do the tax work later on if things change.
Okay, could that be put in your newsletter, Ginger, as an option for people?
Yeah, the caveat to that though is many of the people who come to us get refunds. And they also get the mass circuit breaker. You can't do that with the extension form. It's only to help pay for what you owe, but not have to fill in all the blanks for your taxes. So,
Well,
Would
and
it be,
But Carol,
yeah,
excuse me, with that extension, that's till October 15th, right?
right. It's a 6-month extension. Yeah.
So if you do a refund and you file the extension, that's still legal. It's just you won't get the extension, the refund.
You won't get the refund. No, right.
Until October
No,
15th.
right. That's the thing. Most people depend on getting their refund and they depend on getting their circuit breaker.
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
can't do that without.
And they
filing
can't
the
do that.
papers,
No,
yeah.
no.
so I think it borders on giving tax advice for us to suggest that folks consider filling out Form 4868, because it may or may not be the best idea for their situation. For instance, what Carol just said,
Yeah.
if doing that causes them to lose the circuit breaker.
No, they won't lose it. It's just if they just can't apply for an extension
It's
to get their
delayed.
circuit breaker. They'll have to go
6 months.
and have it filled out by a professional, which will cost them money, which will negate what they're going to probably get back.
Well, right. That's what I'm trying to
So,
say is
yeah.
if we suggest they do that and they don't understand that by doing that, that's going to be a problem with their circuit breaker funds, then I don't want them to blame us or blame the town for misguiding them and
Okay.
telling them to fill out that form. Yeah.
okay,
I possibly, I'm a little bit leery about saying in the newsletter that there's a chance that if you have filed an extension that the AARP might be able to run this program next fall.
Mhm.
I would hate for people to
That's right.
bank
Yeah,
on
and
that.
and we can't make that.
We can't make that promise. We have no
No.
idea.
Yeah.
And then to make matters a little bit more confusing, we thought we heard that there was a nearby town that was going to have in-person meetings for tax prep. So have you heard that, Carol? Is there a chance that some towns are doing it and some are not?
That I don't know. I'd have to ask Greg. Greg is the one who's in charge of the group in Concord and Lincoln. And I know if the preparers were willing to meet in person, if people were willing to come in person, and if there was a place they could meet, I guess it would be okay. But I don't know. I really don't know. Last year, the ARP said, no, we weren't supposed to do anything in person either. So I don't know whether that has changed.
I haven't heard from Greg either, and we're trying to get the newsletter, finalized tomorrow if possible. So we really would like him to look at the language in the article that we're going to put in to be sure that he feels like.
Do you have his email address? Because he answered,
Yeah,
I sent
suggested
him
that.
I
yeah.
forwarded him your email that you
Okay.
sent me with all that wording, and he said, yeah, that's probably the way to go.
Okay.
He saw nothing wrong with that email or that.
It's possible that he's connected with Lauren. Lauren does the email, and I had suggested that Lauren reach out to him since I had not heard from him, and that may have happened today, and I may
Okay.
just not be aware.
Okay.
So it is, anyways, back to everyone's concern. It is, it was terrible last year when half the season had to be canceled and people were quite distraught about it. And now it's looking like this entire tax season is not going to be able to happen. And talk about a definite commentary on the value of that program, Carol.
Yeah.
People are really very lost in thinking that they're not going to have it. And we also have a limited number of places to refer them because we don't refer unless we've checked references. So we have a couple of CPAs on our list where we've checked references that we give to, but I would like to have a lot more choices to give people. So
I asked Greg and he said, we really aren't.
they're not supposed to do that. I know.
Not supposed to, yeah, no.
But they have no idea where to go, so it's upsetting, So anyways, I guess we'll work on being sure that Greg and Lauren communicate about what the article is going to say.
Okay.
Well, have you ever done anything with the H&R Block group?
Have I done anything with them?
Yeah,
No,
for referencing for taxes and that sort of thing?
they are on the referral list. H&R
they are.
Block and a couple of private CPAs. They are on the
okay.
list. Yep.
Okay.
And did anyone else have any other questions of me?
No.
Okay.
Sorry, this is Kristen. I just want to apologize. I came to New York to take care of my mother, and with a storm, we lost internet. We lost. So I just joined belatedly a few minutes ago, but my apologies. I'm just here listening now. Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you for
Supplement whoever's
coming.
taking notes. Sorry.
It's okay. We've got it covered, Kristen. Okay.
I'll put you on the attendee list.
Right.
So are we ready to discuss other committees that we might want to attend their meetings? Patty, did you have ideas?
Well, yeah, and I'm really glad, Kristen, that you're here because you know more about some of these other committees, I think, because of your husband's connection with some of the new housing or whatever. I don't know, it just occurred to me you might have some input there because it seems like going to the Concord Housing Authority might be something that we would do when we have a specific need we're hoping for, as opposed to having someone go to every meeting there, because generally I don't have anything to report that's of particular interest to us. I really liked it when Marianne came to our meeting last year. I think Ginger, maybe you invited her or whatever, but I thought that was useful for us to know more about what they're doing and all. But anyway, so then I thought, well, Kristen, you have this connection. And I was wondering if some of the, which board is it, or which committee is it that you were going to look into or something?
So I attended the CHDC meeting.
Concord
And
House, translate, okay?
yeah, the Concord Housing.
Development Corporation, I think.
And they're the ones who are, I hope I don't die here. They're the ones who are overseeing, as we said, the Grantham development property. And I am happy to continue to attend that. And they, I think, are happy to have somebody from the COA present for that. And then my husband's work on the Superfund site. I'm forgetting, is it 2229? I forget the number of it on Main Street. I think he would like, us to have representation there and be abreast of that, but I obviously can be the one to interface with him and report back to this group about that, because I think they really do want to continue to have a lot of involvement of the senior community of Concord. I don't know a whole lot else about other committees. I agree, actually, my husband does, and I wouldn't mind asking his opinion on other things that he thinks might be helpful. But I just know about those two and think those two do warrant our involvement.
So it could be that we want to move from the CHA, Concord Housing Authority, to this other. And when we see a specific need, we could put it forward to Concord Housing Authority. I don't know, just a thought. What do other people think?
Well, and certainly saying to them that we're going to pull back, but please, by all means, if there's something that you think would be relevant, we'd love to be involved, and, invite their invitation if it is appropriate in the future.
Right. And I'm quite happy to continue going. It's just that I started after a couple years questioning the value of it. But I am happy to continue going if the board feels that would be a good thing to continue.
You could look at their agenda for the upcoming meeting and see if there's anything on there that was relevant to seniors or the COA.
I could do that.
And attend only if you saw something that looked important.
That's a thought.
Okay. How do others feel?
Sounds good to me.
Good, yeah.
Okay.
What about the boards of health or the Transportation Advisory Committee? Should we have representatives there?
I was thinking that too, possibly the Board of Health. I didn't think, maybe transportation though, that's a good suggestion.
We used to have a rep on the Transportation Committee.
I looked online about them and they have no information on their meetings. So I wouldn't know where to go, and how how to get in touch with people.
So one thing I wonder is,
They don't have minutes, they don't have agendas, nothing.
Oh, contact the town clerk. Susan?
That Transportation Advisory Committee is a recent committee. It just, I think, met for the first time within the last 2 months.
Oh, okay, that's why.
And the meetings are posted on I always check the calendar on the front page of the town website to see when they are. I'm not sure. I think one idea would be for people to just drop in on a meeting, get a sense of what their work is, like Transportation Advisory or Board of Health, and then decide whether you think you want to have a presence there.
And I just the Transportation Committee, I was asked to be on that. There are some employees as well as community members. They did meet one time on a very specific issue, a challenge they were having in town about something. But so I don't know that it's clear yet what they're going to be focusing on or studying in this next year, but I suspect I'll be looped in on that if they choose to meet again, and I can certainly keep you up to date. And maybe it will make sense at some point for me not to serve as a staff member and to have a community member, a COA board member serve instead. But I think that's still sort of being looked at and needs to be fleshed out a little bit, probably
Mhm.
before you'll be able to make a decision about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. It's very much in the formative stages in terms of what their goals are and, how they're going to direct their energy. But I also wanted to comment on the CHDC and the 2229 Main Street. I think that those, I would support COA involvement in those two committees. The CHDC is going to be following the Junction Village project very closely. And then also 2229 Main Street has so many different opportunities for use. And I think they're going to have a preliminary plan pretty soon, but Kristen might have the inside track on that. I don't know. We haven't seen anything at select
That
board.
is
I know they're working on it.
Yeah, the first week of January, and then it'll be for public comment. So, I think that, yeah, they definitely want a lot of input from all communities and certainly senior communities, because there are a lot of opportunities for that. Yeah, I mean, I would be happy to be a liaison with 2229 and maybe CHDC, somebody else wants to get involved with that. I also agree that Board of Health, particularly with COVID and vaccine information, it wouldn't be bad. I think it would be great for someone to be on that committee. And
Is that
I
the
don't know.
health?
Board of Health?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
we
sort of
also,
think so, too. Yeah, well, go ahead.
I was gonna say PEG Access also said they wanted someone from our board to go to their meetings. That has to do with, I think, the TV station or the cable network. I'm not really sure what PEG Access is, but Carlin Reed came and spoke to us a couple of years ago about it. If anyone remembers that.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, it is the public access channels.
Okay,
So PEG is Public Education and Government Access Channels.
Right.
May I just ask one question as a newcomer?
Mhm.
I just trying to understand what the goal is having members of the C of A attend these meetings. And I think about this in two sort of broad or wide buckets. One is monitoring, just learning about some information that would be good to bring back to the COA, and then make a decision about whether to advocate for a position or to continue to monitor or alert people to something which affects the seniors. The other is an advocacy role, which sounds like what Kristen was discussing about the 2229 Main Street, maybe advocating for some use that benefited the senior community. Is that the basic goal here, to be a monitor or an advocate for going to these meetings?
yes,
Probably
both
both.
of those things. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna show my ignorance. What is the 2229 Main Street?
that's StarMet. The nuclear
What?
metals,
NMI StarMet.
StarMet, the nuclear metals Superfund site.
Superfund site, yeah.
Oh,
Let's put the seniors there, right?
Oh,
Well,
okay.
no, and to be fair, I mean, so it is a very large property that is being very diligently cleaned up by, a number of professional groups. And in the end, Concord would take over that land and have opportunities, is investigating now, well, if we were to take that land in, 10 years from now, what would we like to do with it? And so is seeking input, and has been over the past however many months, seeking input from the town as to what would be the best uses. And certainly something for seniors, and that could be living or recreation, or all kinds of things, and something for children, and something just outdoors. And so they're entertaining loads of ideas. And I don't think it's a negative thing, like stick the seniors there at the Superfund site. It's actually, it will be well cleaned, and it's just a very large parcel that there's a lot of, it could be commercial, it could be anything.
And
This is the one that's down across from where the ice rink is on 62?
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't we get something from you, Ginger, to fill out?
well, Kristen's husband came to a
Yeah.
COA board
Right,
meeting
and we filled
and
something out.
described
Yeah.
what was happening and listened to our feedback. For instance, there was a lot of talk about that it's right next to the Acton Council on Aging site, and that would not be a good site for a potential senior center due to its proximity to the Acton COA senior center, as well as it not being centrally located in Concord and being out on a border. So that was one of many things that were discussed that night. And I'm sure everybody's feedback was, recorded and is being reflected in how they look at that. But I think, to everyone's point, having our finger on the pulse of that group going forward is probably a really good idea.
Okay.
Thank you.
What about the Board of Health suggestion, Kristen?
I mean,
Well, I
maybe
think
it's
this is,
Not Kristen, I mean Carol Ann, whoever was mentioning that.
I mean, I suggest it because that's my background. This is Kristen, is in,
Oh.
COVID research and public health work. So,
Oh,
and I
okay.
think there is such a great importance on the work that they're doing in those two fields that has a lot of implications for seniors in Concord, and we want to keep everybody abreast. And I don't think it's advocating as much as we want to know what is the plan and how do we communicate that to seniors.
I think so too. I circled that as one that I thought would be appropriate for us to perhaps monitor and advocate at.
I just wanted to mention that all of these, the Board of Health and 2229 and CHDC, I believe CHDC, are taped by Minuteman Network, and the tapes are available online. So you could always go online and look at the last Board of Health meeting, just to get it, or the agendas under the committee website. You can find past agendas. So
Good idea.
it'll give you some input as to, whether you're wanting to monitor it, but it does sound like a good idea. Thank you.
Call from wireless color.
Okay, so the contenders are CHDC, StarMet, Transportation, Board of Health, and PEG Access. So Kristen, you said you were willing to do CHDC, but also StarMet. Would you like to switch to StarMet?
It probably makes sense unless somebody else would like to do StarMet, and then I'll just be backing them up when I hear everything from my husband.
Okay, is there interest in anyone going to the StarMet meetings or keeping track of them? Maybe we should go about the other way. Any of these boards or committees that you feel drawn to? Patty?
Well, I'd be interested in the Board of Health.
Okay.
By the
It's
way,
yours.
disability is one of the committees, and that's a natural, I think, for us to continue.
Yeah, so Grazia had said she would do that. This is the second meeting she's missed, though, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. I will touch base with her. And yes, we should continue disability. Okay, anybody else feel drawn? Carol, are you interested in any other committee?
well, I also thought the Board of Health would be good, but sure, the CHDC or the public access, the PEG would be fine if you don't have anyone else to look at those.
Which would you prefer?
Well, I don't know. I'd try the PEG and see if that has anything for us.
Okay,
Okay.
Michael, are you interested in anything?
Well, about 3 years ago, when the Junction Village, as it was then called, got started, I did go to a number of the CHDC meetings, and I could pick that up again.
Okay, you want to do that one, and then Kristen can do StarMet?
Sure.
That sound like,
Sounds good. And I should just,
Kristen, that okay?
yeah, that sounds good. Just to say, I did put those questions about access to the facility and transportation transportation that may be required to the residents in the future. And Elizabeth Rust, who is the chair of, or no, not necessarily the chair, but is the person on that committee, who said she would look into those questions and get back to us, which will now mean you, Michael. So I'll, pass the baton to her, that you'll be following up or interested in hearing the responses on that.
Okay.
Okay, so we
Um,
have, yes,
Just a question about the housing, CHA. I was thinking of speaking with Mary Ann about what we're thinking, which would be also, what I was thinking was that we would say, we probably won't be coming as a regular time,
Observer.
observer, but we're very interested, obviously, in senior housing. And when, if she were continuing, I would say to her, when you see an issue come up that you think, oh, Patty would be good to notify about that or whatever, and come to that meeting, I would ask her to sort of back that up, in case I didn't notice. Should I continue with that housing thing and check every month? Or this is what I was thinking. It'd be easier to ask her to let me know if you want me to continue with it. Whatever.
okay. Well, if you're willing to do two, I wouldn't expect you to go to both meetings. If you could just check their agenda
Mhm,
each month,
mhm,
I think that would be sufficient.
mhm.
If there was something of interest, you wouldn't necessarily have to go. You could ask another board member to go if you didn't want to go to that one.
Mhm. My computer skills are lacking. That's why I'm not like, oh, fine. I'll do it." Anyway,
Okay. Well, Rod, we didn't give you an assignment. Oh, you're muted.
One moment, sorry. I was going to say that I will take on anything that you assign. It doesn't matter. All of these are equally interesting. There is one key, Board of Health is a great, I'm always interested in that, but you've got plenty of people who are interested in it. But any of the others are fine. I would like to say, I'd like to advocate that whichever town committee worries about sidewalks and handicap accessible access, with the ramps and that sort of thing. I, for one, for seniors who are trying to walk around town during the weather that we have, I think that they wind up with considerable obstacles this time of year, both for safety, overall safety, and the risk of, which is very, very serious. So, Carol Ann, you can put me anywhere you need me, but I would put in a strong, advocacy that whichever town committee is responsible for assessing sidewalks and pedestrian access and pedestrian safety, I'd certainly would be happy to add my name in addition to whatever you do in terms of assigning me to whichever committee wants. I'd be delighted to take that additional one on because that's something which is a key concern for me.
Okay. Susan, would that be disability or would there be another committee that would cover that?
Transportation.
Well, I was thinking Public Works is really responsible for all of that, but that's a pretty broad sweep. But I know that's the department that handles the streets and the sidewalks. But I think disability, I'm not sure what their contacts are, but I think that's another one that you could look at the agenda. Let me poke around, and it's not one of the committees I cover, so I'm not sure the nature of, but it's a pretty broad, I know it's a pretty broad topic, public work. So let me do some research and get back to you.
Okay. All right.
Who is our present disability person?
It's Grazia. But she's
Oh,
not here
excuse me.
tonight. Yeah,
Got you,
she's
okay.
she's new.
No, right.
Yeah, you don't need to replace anyone with me. You just fill in the gaps with me, and then if there's a committee that deals with sidewalks and it's not being covered, I'll volunteer to cover it.
Okay. All right. Susan's going to look into that. Well, in the meantime, would you like to keep track of the agendas on the Concord Housing Authority and see if there are any items that are relevant?
Sure, I'll be happy to.
That would be good to have another set of eyes than mine.
Okay. All right. Well, you're taking over Board of Health. Okay. Any other committees we want to be interested in? All right. So I had a thought, you know, we were designated as an age-friendly and a dementia-friendly town, and I wasn't sure what that involved for the town. I can't say that I felt anything that says, oh yes, we're age-friendly. So Ginger, you had told me who the person in charge of that was. I was thinking about inviting her to our next meeting or a meeting in the future. How do you feel about that?
Well, also Kristen can speak to that a little bit since she was hired as the consultant that did the whole huge survey
Mhm.
prior to us applying to become age friendly. So the name I gave her, Kristen, was Elizabeth Hughes.
Yeah. You know, I would be very happy to follow up with Elizabeth because I've wondered the same, and other towns have contacted me. And Ginger, you would put me in some touch with somebody as well, just to find out. So, what was the next step after getting that designation, and are there plans that are still to come that are have arisen because of that? I would be happy to reach out to her.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know that we've been designated dementia friendly though.
Oh, I thought we were as well. No,
I mean, it's
okay, maybe
often
it's
one
just-
or the other. But I
okay.
don't know. I could ask. I didn't know dementia friendly.
I don't think we are either. It got a little
Okay.
confusing. Both of those efforts sort of happened at the same time. And at one time there was some discussion about whether can be some merge on that, because
Yeah.
many of the things that a town would do to make itself age friendly are also the things that it would do to make itself dementia friendly. So, but I had not heard that we had been officially designated dementia friendly.
Okay. All right, well, age friendly. I just didn't see anything happening that indicated that there was any special training going on or anything special, accommodation. So I was curious since that happened a long time ago. So thank you for Kristen for looking into that.
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to.
Okay, is there anything else we need to discuss tonight? I'm going to take that as a no. Okay. So we take our roll call vote on adjourning the meeting. Rod, you're first. Are we adjourning? Motion to adjourn. So,
Motion to adjourn. Terry Stokes, motion to adjourn.
okay,
I
Rod,
second the motion.
oh, we have to do a roll call. So everyone
Okay.
says, yay or nay. You're
Aye.
first. Okay, Patty,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Michael,
Aye.
Terry,
Yes.
Margaret. Margaret,
Oh, so I can't really vote, but I go along with that. Yeah.
okay. Well, this is only adjourning the meeting after you could vote. Okay, Kristen,
Yeah. Why can't she vote?
She's a
I'm
liaison.
just a
She's not a
liaison
member.
member. My term expired.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, if I can vote, even though I came halfway through, I'm happy to say yes.
Yes, okay. All right, meeting adjourned.
Thank
Thank
you.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Hey, happy
Thank you.
holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.